insula and anterior cingulate. These two are evolutionary structures of our brain, and they give us profound powers of self-awareness and self-directed behavior. In spite having these powers, why we still face difficulties while pursuing our long-term goals? What is the reason? The reason is reward circuits in our brain. So this video is about how we can trick our brain to work on long-term goals. First point, your brain and motivation. Second, trick your brain for working on long-term goals. First point, your brain and motivation. If you see you don't need any motivation for eating food, watching comedy, or going for a trip. Why? Why don't you need any motivation for doing that? Because rewards are there, pleasure is there. Biologically, our brain is programmed to seek pleasures. Our brain is programmed to seek rewards. And if it sees rewards in particular direction, it goes in that direction. And here comes reward circuits in your brain. And once your reward circuits become active, your M drive, which is motivation drive, gets active. And you become motivated to take action. So when you get into the garden, you see your brain is scanning for pleasurable things. You're looking at flowers, trees, probably fountain, water. Because our brain is biologically programmed for seeking pleasures. Because if you want to activate your motivation centers, you have to stimulate your reward circuits in your brain. And if you understand this, then we can literally trick our brains for achieving long-term goals. And we can direct our brain in the right direction. So pleasure doesn't mean that you are only having destructive pleasures. Here I'm only talking about constructive pleasures, which are not harming you. So I'm talking about constructive pleasures. Pleasures like watching a sunset, pleasures like helping someone, pleasures like getting excited, pleasures like falling in love. So there are ways through which we can constructively pleasure our brain, and once that pleasure circuits are getting stimulated, your M drive, your motivation drive gets active, and you pursue your goals constantly. Actually, all these things we can understand, and we also put things in practice. But once we are working on our goals for years, actually mastery comes with years of efforts. Preparation for a competitive exam comes with years of efforts. Or mastering any craft takes years of efforts, years of work. So how do you stay motivated for these years of efforts? Because when you will put efforts day-to-day basis, that time your brain will see that no, you are not getting rewards. At one end you are keeping a picture of ultimate reward in your mind, but on everyday basis you are not actually receiving any rewards. And that your brain sees. When brain sees there are no rewards, it stops you to give you motivation for pursuing those goals. Second point, how to trick your brain to work on long-term goals. So I talked about stimulating reward circuits of our brain, and which can happen by receiving pleasure, because our brain ultimately seeks for pleasure. If we are getting pleasure from the activity, we do that, otherwise our brain gives up. But here, we have to understand too much pleasure can interfere with our conscious decision making and can make us impulsive. So too much pleasure is also harmful for us. And second thing, not having any pleasure while working, which also doesn't help us, because we stop getting motivation and we stop doing things. So the answer is in balance, which is why people say you got to enjoy process. What they mean that if you're working on your long-term goals, you got to enjoy process means you have to be happy while pursuing your goals. You have to put your mind in such a frame where you are grateful, happy, excited, and in love with your job. You are literally enjoying the process. So when you are putting your mind in these activities, that time your brain sees, yeah, I'm getting pleasure. And your brain's reward circuits will get stimulated and it will motivate you to take action. So here comes dopamine. Actually, dopamine is a pleasure hormone, but which is also responsible for motivation. So there are constructive ways, positive ways to increase dopamine that you have to implement here. Once you have increase of dopamine, then you will be motivated to take action and you will have pleasure. First, dopamine comes from excitement. You have to be excited about your goals. And how you can be excited? You have to align your goals with your values. So once you align your goals with your values, then you will be excited to achieve them. Because you have strong reasons, your core values are attached to your goal, and you are getting emotionally involved in it. and you're achieving it. Second, dopamine comes from falling in love. You got to fall in love with your work. It should be so close to your heart that you should be grateful that you are few of those who are able to work towards their goals. Otherwise, majority of people, they only think about filling up their empty stomachs. But you are driven for higher needs. You are driven for meaning in life. You are driven for achieving dreams in your life, which is why you have to be grateful for that. And once you be grateful, once you have a grateful heart while working, then you will fall in love with your process. And what is the other way around? Other way around is stress, anxiety, impatience, hurriness, urgency. What is happening in that way? We are not enjoying the process. You are harming yourself, you are harming your work, and everything is getting messed up. At the end, you are getting burnt out. So, the best way to seek constructive pleasures along the way while working on your long term goals. Also, you will stimulate reward circuits when you create a vision board. When you create a vision board and you keep the pictures of all future accomplishments on that board, you are keeping a photograph of you autographing someone. Your photo is on the magazine, and which car you will buy after getting successful, or which house you will buy. Your inspirations, your ideals, your quotes, your favorite quotes, photos of your favorite people where you draw strength from. So when you look at that vision board, when you look at those pictures, dopamine gets secreted in your frontal lobe. And when it gets secreted in your frontal lobe, which is here somewhere, and this frontal lobe is the part which is responsible for conscious decision making. And if you are using this part, if you are developing this part, then you will direct all other faculties of your brain towards that direction. So other faculties are associated with emotional regulation, creativity, decision making, self-awareness, social awareness. So when you decide something to do, when you be motivated to do that time you get all faculties gathered in that particular direction. And how you can do that? By becoming motivated. Motivation centers get stimulated when you have rewards, pleasures in between. And we are talking about constructive pleasures. Right? And another way you can increase your dopamine by remembering your pleasurable memories. List out the experiences, the memories you have which are pleasurable. Probably in the school you came first in the class. Probably in the college you won a debate competition or dance competition. Or you gave a speech, when you get out of the stage, all the people applauded you. They appreciated you. All these small memories, memories of appreciation where your father, your mother or friends or other people appreciated you. Whether you got the feeling of success in your hearts, you can list out all those memories, all those experiences, you can stick them on the wall. And when you feel demotivated, you can look at those experiences, list of those experiences, and only thing you have to do is, you have to look at that list and those experiences with mindfulness, in a relaxed way. You're becoming relaxed and then you're looking at that list, then you are having those memories, and once you trigger those memories, you will have same feeling which you got at that particular time, and you will be motivated to take action because you got dopamine by those experiences, by memories of those experiences. So we can call that pleasure board. So if you are keeping all these things in practice, being grateful, falling in love with your work, keeping a vision board, keeping a pleasure board, and if you are using these strategies to be motivated, constructively motivated all the time, you will surely work on your long-term goals, where you no longer becoming demotivated or someone to need to push you, to put you in action, but you yourself is become self-motivated towards your goals because you have those profound powers. As I mentioned earlier, insula and anterior cingulate, these two structures are responsible for giving you profound powers of self-awareness and self-directed behavior, which is goal-directed behavior. So, with the help of these ways, you can literally trick your brain to work on something for 100 years. When someone becomes a master in their field, then excellence becomes a habit. So if you are going on this journey of enjoying the process of working on long-term goals, getting pleasure from constructive activities, constructive ways, you are soon going to go places. Thank you very much for watching and subscribe to this channel for becoming a leader in your life. Thank you very much.